What's up, YouTube? This is LA Prepper, and we are coming to you vertically from Los Angeles or thereabouts, California. This homeless problem is fucked, YouTube. It's totally fucked. And if I didn't see it every day, I wouldn't talk about it every day. Guy in front of the liquor store, drunk, holding a malt liquor beverage, gibbering about I just wanna see it, man. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I don't know if he knows what he's talking about, but the liquor store owners, they don't want to deal with them. They just let them be homeless or whatever, you know. Like, I had a business, I ain't letting no motherfucking scumbags hang out, drunk in front of my store. Not a fucking single one. Not happening. I don't care if I have to hire security, call the police 10 times on one person, press charges, show up to court every single time. Not fucking happening. Not at my business, because curb appeal is important, right? So I don't know how you let your curb appeal go to crap like that, but I guess that's just the curb appeal of your average liquor store. And you'll notice it's bad at 7-Elevens. And what's one thing that's common about all 7-Elevens? They're typically worked by employees rather than by the owners. See, owners of a liquor store tend to be a little bit more concerned about the image that their facade gives off to the clients, because they know that there's a million liquor stores out there, and that if enough customers get turned away by skeevy people in front of the store, they're not going to get as much business. But see, the 7-Eleven employee makes money by the hour, and they don't give a shit if there's 10 meth heads or one meth head. In fact, I think the average number of meth heads hanging out by a 7-Eleven is generally greater than or equal to 1. I think I learned that in geometry class or something. But then there was another guy who was kind of walking up past the liquor store with a bedroll and a bag of belongings, and looked to be over 50 years old. And fuck, man, that's not far away from how old I am right now. I'm a lot closer to 50 than I am to 20. So it just makes you think, there, but for the grace of God go I, something along those lines. It's scary, it's kind of scary. I mean, I'm working now. I'm gaining skills that are meaningful as far as income, but there's a reason I don't skydive and free climb without a rope and ride a motorcycle at breakneck speeds as if I could even get a bike and fix it anyways. Because I currently use my arms and legs to work. In fact, even the platform that I work on is a step up and another step up, and if they had to make it a frickin' ramp, it would be a little bit of a disaster. Oh, excuse me. In fact, as far as I can tell, we have a few people that have a limp that work at the company I'm at, and they're mostly stationary, although we have a guy that's a janitor that is mobility impaired, I suppose is a polite way to put it. And he's pushing around garbage cans all freaking day. So you can imagine, being, I wouldn't say he's not as physically able, but you can tell that he walks with a limp. Hopefully he's not in pain, but walking around like that for 8 hours a day is probably slightly harder on the body than not, because when your gait is not symmetrical like that, it kind of puts asymmetrical forces on your joints and your muscles. He's probably used to it after years and years, but anyway, it's definitely hard on somebody. But yeah, not a lot of people in wheelchairs where I work. Not to say that we couldn't accommodate more people in wheelchairs. We certainly could, depending on the nature of the job. But so many of our positions require, bend, sit, stoop, crouch, crawl, slink, all those things. But yeah, work's good enough. Working on some new stuff. Of course, I can't talk about it, but that's neither hither nor thither, as Ron Funches would say. Got some good progress on the motorbike yesterday morning. Replaced a radiator hose. Still fucking leaks. There was a bunch of buildup. So there was buildup from the radiator to the thermostat housing on one side, but then the thermostat housing feeds into these tubes that go into the rear side of the engine. And the part where it feeds from the thermostat housing to the tubes, there was so much radiator fluid corrosion garbage bullshit that the tube was having problems sealing, the rubber tube. And not only that, but it was a real difficult access point with the tank on. So trying to clean all that nonsense off was really tough where it was. So I did the best that I could with sandpaper, tried to clean it up, wasn't really sure whether or not it was going to be good or not. And given the little fucking drips that it was dripping when I ran it, it was not good enough. So I'm going to have to take off the tank, completely sand down that little flange. It never ends, right? It just never fucking ends. Someday I'm going to buy a brand new bike. The only thing is the brand new bikes are even harder to work on than the old bikes because they're even smaller, even more compact, even more electronics. You just can't fucking win. I swear, you just can't win. Plus, I was running it again, and the valve train's making a bit of noise, so I don't know what's up with that. If it's just the valves are out of adjustment, or the cam chain tensioner is a little bit loose, or maybe it just always makes noise at low RPMs because there's not enough tension on the chain. I just don't know. I might need to take it to my local mechanic and be like, could you check the cam chain tensioner? Could you check the valve clearance? That's like a 3-4 which is a few $100, which I don't mind, like, if it gets the bike running better. This fucking radiator leak thing's a real dog, and I probably need to. I guess it's either time, money, or quality, right? One of them's got to suffer. So I'm trying to do good quality work and save money, so it's the time that's costing me. Made a teeny, as my little niece would say, or second cousin, I think. Teeny tiny amount of progress on the house. There was this big, nasty, inch by inch, 45-degree fucking mortar plaster nonsense transition from the sheetrock to the tile. Cut that off after about 25 minutes of hand vibrating, oscillating saw. But I will tell you, I have used that damn oscillating saw a lot since I bought it. I use my chop saw, I use my skill saw, I use my sawzall, I use my table saw, but I've definitely used that oscillating saw a lot. So I am glad that I bought it. It's really nice for stuff like plaster and grout and sheetrock and things that are hard enough to want a power saw, but kind of soft enough that the sawzall isn't always the best option. Especially if sawzall has a really long blade, and if you're working in cramped quarters, having that blade pounding in and out behind and hitting something is potentially not super cool. So the oscillating saw has been a really, really neat little tool that I'm sometimes surprised how much use I get out of it. So I'm really glad with that. It is a Harbor Freight one, but it's all made in China anyways, right? So who cares? All right, so that's a little house update, little bike update. I did mostly successfully plug the air inductions. Oh, damn, I need some water, and I so don't feel like dealing with this right now. God, I'll just have to do it in the morning. So I managed to cap using 1/2-inch copper pipes the copper gaskets on my motorcycle. One of them decided to pop out of the head, so I pushed the fucker back in there. Hopefully it doesn't pop off when I'm driving around. It's probably not a super expensive part, but it sounds like a fucking lawnmower when it pops off. Like, it sounds literally like a lawnmower without a muffler, because you consider it's 150cc piston stroke, times 4 gives you about 599 cc's of displacement. It's about the size of a lawnmower, maybe a little bit bigger. So yeah, that was kind of funny. I hope that little SOB sticks in there. It's like a press fit. I don't know what the fuck the deal is, if it was pressed in harder at the factory, or I really don't know. If it doesn't want to stay in there this time, I might try a little super glue. If it doesn't want to stay in there, then I don't fucking know. I really don't. I'm tempted to just have a welder tack the goddamn thing in there. It's not, I mean, they're two different metals. It's like an aluminum head and some pot metal on the thing. So I guess it'd be more of a braze than a tack, but I don't fucking know, man. I'm doing so many jury rig things with this bike. Not that many, but I do think I successfully mated some sort of overflow bullshit to some carburetor canister assembly thing. I probably screwed it up, but I don't know, man. So yeah, the bike runs. I'm sure it'll do a fucking 120 miles an hour like nothing, but it would be kind of nice to put the fairings on and not have to worry about nasty valve train noises, not have to worry about valve clearances or shim clearances, or told myself I'd never buy a bike that needed shims, and this one is a shim valve adjustment versus the adjustable valves, which I like a lot more. Still have some pennies in the gas tank, and that's a whole nother goddamn headache. So if I can just kind of take a look at the valve train noise, which is slightly irritating, get some pennies out of the gas tank, make sure my valve clearance is good, make sure my cam chain tensioner is good, make sure my radiator fluid is not leaking out. I basically have a running motorcycle I can drive around. It's just these little headaches that I'm having are kind of really fucking annoying. Like the worst kind of headaches tend to be. But now we are at home and we have some delicious Voodoo Ranger Higher Plane Ale. This shit is amazing. 8.5%. The Higher Plane IPA achieves the perfect balance of delicately bitter flavors and tropical juicy aromas. Channel your inner haze. We are definitely going to be channeling some haze tonight, people. So until next time, thank you for stopping by. If you didn't catch me live, which based on these 0 viewers, I will take it as everyone who's watching this video. That's okay. I try to broadcast live every night between about 1:30 and 2:30, depending on how the night goes. Working on some more regular morning broadcasts, but, you know, working on a lot of things. If you watch my channel, you will probably realize that. Me cigarettes, which are obviously terrible. Well, the Wi-Fi is sucking me over, so it's going to screw up everything. Until next time, like, comment, subscribe, keep all your stuff running better than I do. And as always, keep prepping, YouTube. We'll see you next time.